My grandfather, Ralph Orlando Byron, was born in Carrollton, Missouri in 1905. Later, he moved to Chicago, Illinois. And as a young boy growing up in Chicago, I spent a lot of time with my grandfather, specifically on weekends. And he taught me many things. One of the interesting things that he taught me was a a song. It was actually a little ditty, a simple tune that went like this. I'm on my way to Mandalay. Beneath the tall pine trees I long to stray. Oh, what in the dickens are wrong with the chickens? They don't seem to lay eggs today. If the doggone rooster don't come round like he used to, then that's the reason why those hens don't lay fresh eggs today. That rooster said goodbye. Now understand, my grandfather was not a musician, nor was he in drama or any of the artistic fields. He played baseball. He was creative, but he primarily worked in the steel mill. So I always thought it was interesting that of all the things that in terms of the legacy that he gave, passed down to me, was this song that he obviously had learned in his youth. And for years, I wondered where this song had come from. Now, I every once in a while I would Google the I'm on my way to Mandalay, and the only thing that would come up would be the song called "On the Road to Mandalay," which was a song that was based upon the poems by Rudyard Kipling. Rudyard Kipling wrote the poem in 1890. And since then, several people have recorded certain verses from that song. Most notably, Frank Sinatra actually did a jazzy rendition of the Rudyard Kipling verses. Interesting note about that: Rudyard Kipling's daughter, ancestor, great granddaughter, or something, did not like Sinatra's version of it, and so she banned it for many years. But nevertheless, that was not the tune that my grandfather taught me. And so just recently, I happened to be talking with my mother, and I said, well, let me see if I can find this song again. Because my mother didn't even know that he had taught me this when I was a little boy. So lo and behold, I stumbled across something that somebody had posted on the internet, maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. And it was a recording of a song called I'm on My Way to Mandalay. And it was recorded in 1913 by Alfred Bryan and Fred Fisher in Camden, New Jersey. Well, immediately I said, well, it's probably a different song. So I looked at the lyrics, and the lyrics didn't match up to what I learned by my grandfather. But fortunately, there is an actual recording of the song. Now, here's what's interesting. The song was recorded on those old cylinders. That's how they used to have to record music back then. So obviously the lyricist, the tenor who sang the song, the composer, sort of all had to be there together to record this. And perhaps the song was popular, and it may have been because they actually recorded it, and there wasn't a lot of recorded music at the time. So I listened to it, and lo and behold, toward the end of the song, the same melody that I had learned from my grandfather matched up with that song. Now, the words were different, but the melody actually matched up, which was quite fascinating to me, because here it is. I finally discovered where he may have gotten this song from. But what about the different words? Where did these different lyrics come from? So I contacted a colleague of mine and a former teacher, Dr. Uzzie Brown, who is a musicologist at Morehouse College, and I told him of my finding. And Dr. Brown explained to me that it was not uncommon for black people or people in general who did not have a phonograph or couldn't afford one to hear a song, and they may have heard it in a variety of different places, who knows, out in public, and they remembered the melody, but they didn't quite remember the lyrics. And so as such, as we tended to do in this, and his examples were primarily using the church as a scenario, we substituted our own lyrics that meant something to us.
Never underestimate the profundity of what may seem to be a simple message. on the surface. That was the same mistake that was made by the slave owners during the days of slavery, when they failed to understand the multiple layers of dialogue that were taking place in these simple songs. This is why they became a convenient vehicle for the double meaning kinds of songs. At one level, it had a spiritual context, and at another, it had a very strong social message in an environment where they were prohibited to be able to communicate effectively with each other.
So in the substitution of these lyrics that my grandfather had done, it was somebody from a more rural environment or setting, substituted their lyrics and put it into this particular melody, and apparently that stuck and stayed with him. So here are the original lyrics. It was my grandfather's way to Mandalay. Beneath the tall pine trees I long to stray. Oh, what in the dickens are wrong with the chickens? They don't seem to lay eggs today. If that doggone rooster don't come round like it used to, then that's the reason why those hens don't lay fresh eggs today. That rooster said goodbye.